Welcome back to Lies and Vows. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. You're the reason these stories worth sharing. Tell us where you're watching from, city or country. We're amazed by how far these tales reach. All right, let's dive in. Chapter 1. The barracks were quiet except for the faint hum of a ceiling fan and the occasional echo of boots on concrete. The air smelled faintly of dust and engine oil, the usual scent of a forward operating base. Captain Noah Ward sat on the edge of his narrow bunk, elbows on his knees, gripping the satellite phone so tightly his knuckles had turned pale. He had been waiting all day to call. It was Dylan's birthday back home, and even from thousands of miles away, Noah wanted to hear his son's laugh, wanted to feel, for just a moment, like he was there with him. When the call connected, there was no laugh. No cheerful "Hi, Dad." Just a sharp click, and then Kate's voice, smooth and strange. "Kate, you called at the perfect time, Noah." Her tone was unnerving. There was no warmth, no softness. "Noah," relieved, smiling faintly, "put Dylan on. I want to wish him." Her next words sliced through the air like a blade. "Kate, your son's gone. Sold for $75,000. Noah froze. For a moment, he thought he'd misheard her, but the static on the line had twisted her words. "Noah, careful, steady. Kate, what did you just say?" On the other end, a soft, almost delighted laugh. "Kate, you heard me. We sold him. Don't act so shocked. He was never really mine anyway." Noah felt the blood drain from his face. His hand tightened around the receiver until it hurt. "Noah," voice dropping lower, "where is Dylan?" Before Kate could answer, another voice cut in, sharp, mocking. It was Linda Carr, Kate's mother. "Linda, we always wanted a different son anyway. You should be thanking us. This way, you can start over when you get back." Noah's stomach turned. He could hear muffled music and the clinking of glasses in the background, as if they were celebrating. His pulse hammered in his ears. Then came the voice that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. Thomas Greer, from somewhere behind them, amused, "When you come back, the same thing will happen to you." The line went dead. For a long moment, Noah didn't move. The barracks felt too small, the air too thin. Private Cole Whitman, a young soldier, noticed the change in his captain's face and approached slowly. "Cole, sir, is everything all right?" Noah didn't answer right away. He stood, every muscle in his body tense, and placed the phone gently on the metal table beside his bed. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm, too calm. "Noah, get me a secure line. Now." Cole hesitated for half a second, unnerved by the quiet steel in Noah's tone, then sprinted toward the communications room. Noah stood in the middle of the barracks, breathing slow and deep. Rage burned through him like fire, but he didn't let it show. He couldn't. Not yet. Minutes later, Cole returned with a secure radio. Noah took it, his hand steady, his face set in stone. "Noah," into the radio, "this is Captain Ward, ID 29 Alpha. Initiate Delta Protocol, Priority 1. Target, my residence. Immediate execution." He said nothing more. No one in the room dared to ask what Delta Protocol was, but the tension was suffocating. When he ended the call, Noah sat back down, staring at the floor. In his mind, he saw Dylan's face, the way his son's eyes lit up when Noah surprised him with a toy truck last year, the way he always waited by the door when Noah came home from deployment. Someone had taken that child away. Someone had laughed about it. And someone had threatened Noah's life. Noah's jaw flexed. He didn't raise his voice, didn't punch a wall. He simply whispered under his breath, "Noah, 10 minutes. Then it's over." The barracks went silent. Even the hum of the ceiling fan seemed to pause. This was no longer a man on deployment. This was a soldier at war, and this time, the battlefield was his own home. Chapter 2, Small Shadows. The morning after their anniversary, the apartment felt like a hotel room someone had just checked out of, tidy, quiet, and strangely impersonal. Chloe brewed coffee and watched the steam curl toward the kitchen skylight while Lucas tied his tie by the hallway mirror. He kissed her cheek, promised to be home early, promised to pick up flowers for the weekend. He promised a lot. By noon, The flowers had become a calendar reminder on Chloe's phone and another unread text on hers from Sophia. You okay? Call me when you can. Chloe typed back later and returned to her sketches. The studio was a refuge. Sunlit boards, fabric swatches clipped like flags, graphite lines gathering into rooms that didn't yet exist. Still, her pencil kept drifting toward a phone on the corner of the desk that didn't buzz. At 3, Olivia dropped by, hair up in a careless knot, camera bag over her shoulder. I'm shooting the market down on Pier Morn, she said, already rummaging in the fridge. You want to come? I can't, Chloe said, though she could. Deadlines. Olivia's eyes swept the apartment. The set table for two that hadn't been cleared, the jacket Lucas had left on the chair. You look distracted. Chloe tried to smile. Do I? Olivia shut the fridge with her hip. It's been weird, she said softly. Don't look at me like that. I can't tell. Chloe started to protest, then let the breath go. It's probably just work. Right, Olivia said. Work that calls at anniversaries. She slung the strap across her chest. I'm not saying anything. I'm just, hey. When she left, the silence returned, and with it, the itch of the unknown. By 5, Lucas texted, late meeting. Don't wait up. Love you. Chloe stayed at the words until they blurred. She put down her pencil and picked up her keys. The office tower was a glass monolith that pretended to be transparent while revealing nothing. Chloe hovered in the lobby, watched people drift through revolving doors, watched a receptionist smile at no one in particular. She considered asking for Lucas Bennett, then considered the polite smile she'd get in return and how she'd feel walking back into the night with that smile instead of an answer. Instead, she crossed the street to the coffee shop he liked, the one with the chalkboard poems and the barista who always remembered his order. The bell chimed as she entered. The barista looked up, brightened. Hey, Mrs. Bennett. Oh, cappuccino today. Do you see Lucas much these days? She asked. Careful, casual. Less lately, the barista said, steaming milk. He's been switching to late-night pickups. Sometimes he's with a colleague, tall, dark hair, sharp blazer. They talk numbers. Or stress. He slid the cup across. He seems tired. Chloe walked 3 blocks without tasting the cappuccino. Her phone vibrated. A new email, not from Lucas. Dr. Adrian Cole. Subject line, consultation follow-up. Her thumb hovered before she opened it. Chloe, it read, I hope the anniversary went well. Lucas rescheduled our check-in for next week. He asked me to send over the mindfulness worksheets you found helpful before. I've attached them here. If you ever want to talk privately, my door is open. AC. She stopped under a street lamp. She had seen Adrian at charity events. Lucas's mentor, a man with a measured voice and a way of pausing that made people spill their truths. Lucas hadn't mentioned rescheduling anything. Mindfulness worksheets. Before, Chloe forwarded the email to herself, then to a folder she titled Notes. A small act, a paper cut in the dark. When she reached the apartment, the city had cooled into neon and hush. She cooked dinner for one, left Lucas a plate covered in foil, and told herself this was marriage, seasons, tides, the ebb and flow of business. At 10, she texted you coming soon, and got back still in the meeting. Don't wait up. At 11, a rideshare car eased to the curb outside. She moved to the window and watched, heart thudding. Lucas climbed out, head bent, one hand shielding his face from the drizzle. He spoke to someone still in the car. Chloe couldn't see the passenger's face, only a pale wrist, a glint of a bracelet, hair catching the light. The door remained closed. Lucas leaned in closer, said something too softly for the glass to carry. He straightened, offered a brief smile to the unseen passenger, and the car slipped away. When he came in, he smelled like rain and cologne and something metallic, elevator rails, maybe, or nerves. Hey, he said, surprised to find her awake. You should have slept. Chloe studied him. Long meeting. The longest. He loosened his tie, kissed her forehead, and reached for the foil on his plate like a man performing a scene he'd rehearsed. You didn't have to wait up. Who dropped you off? A client, he said easily, then added, we were at a late dinner. It ran over. Chloe nodded, as if accepting a soft lie in exchange for soft peace. She set a glass of water by his plate and watched him eat. He was careful not to ask about her day. He was careful all the time now. When he finally went to shower, his phone, face down, buzzed on the counter. She stared at it, feeling the hum in her bones, a moth drawn to a thin blue glow. She didn't touch it. She didn't need to. The screen lit long enough to reflect 2 words on the marble before fading. Room confirmed. The water roared in the bathroom. Chloe stood absolutely still, the apartment suddenly too small for air. She reached for the phone, then pulled her hand back as if it were a flame. Instead, she crossed the room, opened the window to the rain, and let the night breathe in. When Lucas returned, toweling his hair, she was at the sink, rinsing a plate that had already been washed. "Everything okay?" he asked. She smiled without showing teeth. "Of course." He kissed her temple and said, "I'll make it up to you this weekend. I promise." Then he slipped his phone into his pocket without checking it and turned off the kitchen light. In the darkness, Chloe kept seeing the reflection on the marble. Room confirmed. For who? For when? For what? She lay awake long after his breathing smoothed beside her, counting the seconds between the elevator's distant chimes. When sleep finally came, it arrived in fragments, hallways with doors she could not open, the click of a key in a lock that wasn't hers, and the faint, unmistakable scent of someone else's perfume drifting down a hotel corridor. Chapter 3. The Unsettling Friend. The weekend arrived, heavy with clouds and promises Lucas never quite fulfilled. Chloe found herself in the garden balcony, trimming the withered leaves off her orchids. She had loved these flowers for their resilience, but lately, even they seemed to bend toward shadows. Her phone buzzed. Noah Grant. The name alone tugged a sigh from her lips. Noah had been Lucas's friend long before she married into the Bennett family, a constant presence at barbecues, holidays, even their wedding. He had a smile too quick to be trusted and eyes that lingered a little too long when Lucas wasn't looking. "Coffee. My treat. You sound like you could use a break." Chloe hesitated. She hadn't told Noah anything, but somehow he always seemed to appear when Lucas disappeared. Against her better judgment, she typed back, 1 hour. At the Pier Cafe. The cafe overlooked the water, gulls circling as if waiting for secrets to spill into the sea. Noah was already there, leaning back in his chair, sunglasses pushed into his dark hair, his smile unfolding as she approached. "Chloe Bennett," he said smoothly. "You look like someone carrying too much." "I didn't realize I looked like anything," she said, pulling her coat tighter. "You don't have to," Noah replied. "It's in the eyes. Lucas doesn't notice, but I do." His words slid between them like a knife through silk. Chloe forced a polite smile. "Lucas has been busy. That's all." "Busy," Noah repeated, letting the word hang. Funny how busy can mean so many things. Chloe sipped her coffee, the bitterness grounding her. "Why did you really ask me, hey?" "To check on you," Noah said, leaning forward now. "Because if I don't, who will?" "Lucas." He gave a short laugh. "Come on, Chloe. You deserve more than half answers and late nights." Her throat tightened. She hadn't told anyone about the texts, about the reflection on the marble counter. Yet Noah spoke as if he'd read her mind. "What are you implying?" she asked softly. He tilted his head. "Only that I've seen him around. Late. With someone who isn't you." Chloe's stomach turned. "You've seen him." "More than once," Noah admitted, his voice low. "But I didn't know if I should say anything. Didn't want to hurt you." His hand brushed hers across the table. "Not enough to hold, but enough to linger. I care about you, Chloe. Always have." She pulled her hand back, her pulse racing. This isn't fair. Not to me. Not to Lucas." "Lucas stopped being fair a long time ago," Noah said. His gaze softened, but beneath it burned something sharper. "Don't waste yourself waiting for him to choose you." Chloe stood abruptly, the chair scraping. The cafe's warmth felt stifling, the gulls' cries too shrill. "I appreciate your concern, Noah. But this, whatever this is, It needs to stop. He raised his hands in mock surrender. I'm just telling you what you already know. She left without finishing her coffee, her footsteps quick against the wooden pier. The air smelled of salt and betrayal. That night, Lucas returned home later than promised, carrying the bouquet of lilies he'd forgotten on their anniversary. He set them on the counter, smiling as if that alone erased everything. You've been quiet, he said, slipping his arms around her waist. I'm fine, Chloe murmured, though her mind replayed Noah's words. Late. With someone who isn't you. She wanted to confront Lucas, to hurl the question like a stone against glass. But his embrace was warm, his voice gentle, and for a moment, she let herself believe in the man she once trusted. Later, when Lucas showered, Chloe stepped onto the balcony, the night air cool against her skin. She pulled out her phone, stared at Noah's last message blinking on the screen. You don't have to go through this alone. Call me anytime. She deleted it, but the words remained etched in her mind. Somewhere between the whispers of a friend and the silence of a husband, Chloe felt the ground beneath her start to fracture. And though she didn't know it yet, Noah's shadow would stretch far longer than Lucas's secrets. Chapter 4: Whispers at the Party. The Bennett townhouse had always been a stage, and tonight it brimmed with lights, laughter, and the perfume of too many guests. Lucas had insisted on hosting a networking mixer. He called it for clients and colleagues. To Chloe, it felt like theater, polished surfaces, rehearsed smiles, and conversations that skimmed the surface while hiding the undertow. She moved through the rooms like a hostess on autopilot, greeting guests, offering wine, laughing when expected. But her gaze drifted constantly toward Lucas, who floated easily from one circle to another, shaking hands, leaning close to whisper something that made people chuckle. He was magnetic, admired, untouchable. And yet, Chloe's chest tightened every time his phone buzzed in his pocket and he excused himself with a grin that never reached his eyes. On the second floor, near the staircase landing, Chloe paused to catch her breath. The din of the party softened here, replaced by fragments of conversation spilling from the study down the hall. She had been looking for Olivia, but the voices stopped her. You can't keep this up, a woman's voice murmured, urgent but hushed. Chloe stilled, her heart leaping. A man replied, his tone low and rough. Relax. She doesn't suspect a thing. Her pulse thundered in her ears. She edged closer, heels silent against the carpet. I saw her at the cafe with Noah. The woman pressed. If she starts asking questions. She won't, the man interrupted sharply. Noah's predictable. He'll keep her occupied if it comes to that. Chloe's breath caught. Noah. The woman's laugh was bitter. You think is helping you? Is helping himself. A silence followed, heavy with something unsaid. Then the man's voice again. Softer. Dangerous. She's too loyal. That's a weakness. By the time she realizes what's happening, it'll be too late. Chloe stepped back, her hand tightening on the banister. The study door creaked open, and she ducked behind the curve of the staircase, heart hammering. She glimpsed a flash of dark hair, the edge of a sharp blazer. Isabella Cruz, Lucas's colleague. Isabella adjusted her bracelet as she slipped out, her perfume trailing like smoke. The man remained unseen, still in the shadows of the study. Chloe pressed a hand to her chest, forcing herself to breathe silently until Isabella's heels clicked down the stairs and merged with the laughter below. She wanted to storm into the study, demand answers, tear the curtain away. But her body wouldn't move. Instead, she descended slowly, her face composed, her smile perfectly in place. Olivia spotted her near the kitchen, waving a glass of wine. You okay? You look pale. Chloe forced a laugh. Just a little warm upstairs. Lucas appeared then, slipping an arm around Chloe's waist as if nothing in the world could touch them. Everything all right, sweetheart? His eyes searched hers with practiced warmth. But Chloe saw something else flicker there. Wariness, calculation. She smiled back, the mask fitting snugly. Perfect, she said. As the night wound down, she watched him from across the room. Watched how Isabella lingered near him, how Noah's eyes followed her when he thought no one noticed, how Dr. Adrian Cole observed from the corner like a man studying a chessboard. The party ended with applause for Lucas's speech and polite goodbyes at the door. When the last guest left, Chloe began clearing glasses in silence. Lucas loosened his tie, poured himself a drink, and sank into the armchair. "Successful night," he said. She stacked plates onto a tray. "Yes, very." He glanced at her, measuring. "You seem distracted." "Just tired," she replied, forcing her voice steady. But as she carried the glasses into the kitchen, her mind replayed the whispers upstairs. "She's too loyal." That's a weakness. Alone at the sink, Chloe gripped the counter, her reflection fractured in the glass of the window. She had always believed loyalty was her strength. But now, in the echo of those words, she realized loyalty could also be a noose tightening around her throat. Chapter 5: Secrets Unveiled. By Sunday morning, the house smelled of lemon cleaner and avoidance. Lucas left early for a client brunch, kissing Chloe's forehead with a hurry that didn't match his words. She watched the elevator swallow him whole, then turned to the quiet he'd left behind. Cleaning calmed her hands, if not her mind. She stripped the bed, emptied nightstand drawers, straightened the living room, small rituals of control. When she lifted Lucas's blazer from the dining chair, something thin slid from the inner pocket and tapped the floor. A white sleeve, embossed navy letters, Marina Plaza. Tucked inside, an inactive keycard and a narrow receipt. Chloe stayed at the print. Room 1206. 2 cappuccinos, chocolate-dipped strawberries, romance add-on, complimentary. Date and time. The night he texted late meeting. Her breath went small and sharp. She photographed everything, then laid the sleeve back exactly as she'd found it. The marble counter reflected her face in fractured light, the same surface where room confirmed had flashed. She opened her banking app. An innocuous line item confirmed the hotel charge, split across 2 days. She should have called Sophia. Instead, she called Olivia. "Say where," Olivia said after a pause that held no judgment. "I'll drive." They park a block from the Marina Plaza, glass and chrome rising over the harbor, a lobby of limestone and polite secrets. Chloe rehearsed a story on the walk-in. "I left my scarf last night. My husband checked in for me." She didn't need it. Hotels were oceans built on waves of half-truths. At the front desk, Chloe smiled like every woman who had ever kept a fragile thing from shattering in public. "Hi, I may have left a small bracelet in room 1206 last night. Could you check lost and found?" "Of course," the clerk said, tapping keys. "Do you have a name on the reservation?" "Lucas Bennett." Another tap, a glance. "I can't disclose guest details, Ms." Chloe's smile didn't falter. "Of course not. If anything turns up, could you call me?" She slid a card across with a number and a name that weren't hers. Olivia Bennett. Olivia squeezed her elbow. The clerk promised to check. They drifted to the lobby bar and sat with 2 glasses of water they didn't touch. A wall of windows made mirrors of the street. Time stretched thin. Chloe felt like a wire, drawn tight enough to sing. At 12:43, the revolving door turned. Isabella Cruz stepped into the lobby, hair coiled, blazer sharp, a bracelet flashing at her wrist, the same gleam Chloe had seen in the car window. Isabella didn't look around. She moved like a woman who knew the map. A minute later, Noah walked in from the side entrance, sunglasses hanging from his collar. He texted without pausing and followed her toward the elevators. Olivia's breath snagged. "Do we?" "Not here," Chloe whispered. The words tasted like iron. They waited until the doors slid shut on 12. Then another elevator chimed. Chloe didn't remember standing. She only remembered the soft shudder of ascent, the carpeted hush of the 12th floor, the corridor running like a vein to 1206. They stopped short of the door. From inside, low voices, the muffled clink of glass. A laugh, Isabella's, lighter than Chloe expected. She pressed her palm to the cool wood, then snatched it back as if burned. She wasn't ready to see. Not yet. Not like this. "Photo," Olivia mouthed, raising her phone. She snapped the room number, the corridor, a sliver of shadow moving under the door's sweep. It felt obscene and necessary at once. Back in the elevator, Chloe's hands shook in the sterile light. Her phone buzzed with an email banner sliding across the screen like fate repeating itself. Marina Plaza reservations. Room 1206 confirmation. Her spine turned to glass. She opened it. A thread between Lucas and reservations, copied to Dr. Adrian Cole. Dates, extensions, quiet corner, away from elevators. And then, this week, same arrangement as before. Please charge to the same card. LB. Below it, Adrian's reply from his clinical email. Keep logistics consistent. Control the narrative. Ambiguity protects you. Olivia whispered. Adrian was copied. Chloe scrolled until the text blurred. At the bottom, a fresh line from reservations sent 10 minutes earlier, almost the exact moment Isabella and Noah had entered the lobby. Room 1206 is ready. Early check-in approved. Enjoy your stay. The lobby felt colder when they returned, like the building had agreed to keep her secret in his. Chloe sat, folded her hands, and watched the elevators as if she could see through them. She thought of the party, the whisper, she's too loyal. That's her weakness. On the drive home, Olivia gripped the wheel. Say the word, and we go back with security. Or we call Sophia. Or we. Not yet, Chloe said. Her voice surprised her. Steady, almost gentle. I want the whole picture, not just shots. In the apartment, the quiet met her like a dare. She opened Lucas's laptop. No password now. He trusted the performance of trust. Her cursor hovered, then moved with a certainty she didn't recognize as her own. Mail. Adrian Cole. Subject. Check-in. She clicked. An audio attachment waited inside like a dormant mine. Adrian's voice filled the room, honey over steel. You must stay ahead of perception, Lucas. If she asks, deny specifics. Offer feelings, not facts. If she finds something, say it's a misunderstanding. The human mind prefers the comfort of a plausible lie. Chloe paused the audio with a trembling finger. In the kitchen, the lilies Lucas had brought home were beginning to brown at the edges. Her phone vibrated again. A new email from reservations, addressed to Lucas Bennett, and because she was still logged in, she saw it arrive in real time. We have extended room 1206 for tonight, 8 p.m. late arrival noted. If plans change, please reply. Chloe stayed at the cursor, blinking in the reply field, a blank white space where future could be rewritten. Her hands steadied. She typed, confirmed. See you at 8, and hit send. Then she powered down the laptop, crossed to the mirror, and studied the woman looking back. Eyes clear, breath even, a new wire drawn through the center of her. Tonight, the door to room 1206 would open. And this time, she would be the one on the other side. Chapter 6. Following the trail. The clock ticked louder than usual, as if mocking Chloe's nerves. Each second dragged toward 8 o'clock, toward the reservation she had confirmed in Lucas's name. The apartment felt both too small and too large, walls pressing in while shadows stretched endlessly. Lucas had texted earlier, running late, another meeting. Don't wait up. Her lips curved at the irony. Don't wait up. That's exactly what she intended not to do. By 7, Chloe was dressed not in her usual soft colors but in black, dark jeans, a fitted coat, her hair tied back. She didn't want to be noticed. She wanted to blend into corners, to become the shadow in Lucas's carefully lit world. She slipped her phone into her pocket, grabbed Olivia's spare car keys, and left without locking the door. The city lights blurred against her windshield as she drove toward the harbor. Every red light stretched into a question. What if I'm wrong? What if it's all coincidence? What if Adrian's email was misread? If Isabella was just a colleague? If Noah? But the thought died quickly. The lies were too many. Patterns too sharp to be accidental. The Marina Plaza rose ahead, shimmering like an invitation she could not decline. Chloe parked 2 blocks away, slipping into the drizzle-slicked night. She entered through the side entrance, where bellhops glanced without suspicion. Her heels were muffled by the plush carpet, her breathing synced to the distant hum of elevators. She moved quickly to the 12th floor. The corridor stretched long and dim, patterned with gold and burgundy swirls. At room 1206, she paused. The door looked ordinary, its brass numbers gleaming, but to Chloe it pulsed like a heartbeat. She pressed her ear against the wood. Muffled voices. Laughter. The clink of glasses. Her fingers trembled as she slid her phone out, angling the camera against the doorframe. Through the small gap beneath, she caught fragments. A pair of heels discarded on the carpet, a jacket carelessly draped over a chair. A man's shadow moved across the room. Then another, thinner, unmistakably female. Her stomach twisted. She snapped photos quickly, heart hammering with each click. The elevator at the far end dinged. Chloe straightened instantly, slipping her phone away. The doors slid open, and Noah Grant stepped out, casual as if he belonged. He didn't see her at first. His stride was confident, his hand adjusting his collar, his phone glowing in his palm. Chloe ducked into the alcove near the service closet, pulse pounding. She watched as Noah approached room 1206, knocked twice in a familiar rhythm, and slipped inside without hesitation. The door closed behind him with a soft click. Chloe leaned against the wall, nausea rising. The whispers from the party returned. Noah will keep her occupied if it comes to that. This wasn't random. This wasn't a single betrayal. It was layered, orchestrated. She wanted to storm in, to rip the door open and drag the truth into the hallway. But she forced herself still. Patience now meant power later. She pulled back, walking carefully down the hall, every step a battle between fury and control. In the lobby, she sat near the bar, her coat draped around her, and ordered sparkling water. She positioned herself with a clear view of the elevators. At 9:07, Isabella emerged. Her blazer was buttoned, her hair pinned neatly again, her face composed, but Chloe caught the smudge of lipstick slightly faded, the satisfied curve of her mouth. Isabella didn't look around. She moved swiftly out of the lobby, her heels clicking like punctuation marks. Minutes later, Noah exited too. He didn't rush. He strolled, scrolling through his phone, whistling softly, as if nothing in the world were wrong. He walked past Chloe without seeing her, the scent of his cologne lingering sharp and heavy in the air. Lucas never appeared. Chloe followed Noah at a distance, her hood pulled low. He crossed 3 blocks to a corner bar, slipped inside, and greeted someone waiting at a booth. Chloe froze at the window, rain dripping from the awning above. Dr. Adrian Cole. Noah leaned close, whispering something that made Adrian nod with the calm certainty of a man who had predicted the outcome long before it happened. Papers exchanged hands. Then laughter rose between them. Quiet, contained, the laughter of conspirators. Chloe snapped photo after photo, each one a nail in the coffin of her old life. By the time she returned home, her body shook with exhaustion, but her mind burned sharp. She saved every file, Isabella leaving, Noah strolling, Adrian waiting. She copied the emails, the hotel receipt, the audio. She created a folder on her laptop labeled Truth and duplicated it onto a flash drive. Lucas returned at midnight, smelling faintly of whiskey. He kissed her cheek lightly, as if nothing had happened. "How was your night?" he asked, loosening his tie. Chloe smiled, her face smooth as porcelain. Quiet. She watched him move through the apartment, shedding layers of deception like a man undressing after a long performance. He had no idea the curtain was about to fall. When he finally disappeared into the bedroom, Chloe remained in the living room, her flash drive resting in her palm. The weight was small, almost nothing, and yet it carried enough to break everything. Her loyalty had been tested, her doubt confirmed, her patience sharpened into a blade. And now, for the first time, Chloe wasn't afraid. She was ready. Chapter 7. The Hotel Room. The rain came down in sheets that night, coating the streets in silver. Chloe sat in her car across from the Marina Plaza, windshield wipers beating a nervous rhythm. The flash drive in her coat pocket felt heavier than it should, as though the truth itself had gained mass. She had evidence, emails, receipts, photos. Yet part of her still needed to see it with her own eyes, to bane away the small ember of doubt that whispered maybe, just maybe, she was wrong. At 7:45 p.m., the revolving doors spun, and Lucas Bennett walked inside. He looked sharp, his suit freshly pressed, hair combed into place, umbrella folded neatly at his side. He carried himself with the calm assurance of a man arriving for business, not an affair. That performance had always been his strength. Chloe watched his reflection in the glass, her breath fogging the car window. She stepped out, rain soaking her coat, and followed him at a distance. Inside, the lobby buzzed with muted elegance. She kept to the edges, trailing him into the elevator, slipping in just before the doors closed. 12th floor, the attendant asked. Lucas smiled faintly. Yes. Chloe turned her face away, heart hammering as the car ascended. She could smell his cologne, familiar yet tainted now, every note twisted with suspicion. When the doors opened, Lucas walked down the hall toward room 1206, pulling the keycard from his pocket. Chloe stayed back until the door clicked shut behind him. The corridor was hushed, the patterned carpet swallowing every sound. Chloe approached slowly, pressing her ear against the cool wood. Voices inside, low, blurred. Then a laugh, light and feminine. Isabella's. Her stomach twisted. She tried the handle. Locked. She looked left, then right. No one in sight. Her hand trembled as she pulled a small hairpin from her pocket, one Olivia had given her just in case. She had practiced once, years ago, more for amusement than skill. But tonight desperation steadied her hand. The lock clicked. The door eased open, just a crack. Chloe's eye pressed to the gap. Inside, the curtains were drawn tight, the room glowing with soft golden lamplight. A half-empty bottle of champagne sat on the table, 2 glasses beside it. Lucas's jacket was tossed carelessly on the armchair. And there, on the bed, was Isabella Cruz, her heels kicked aside, her laughter soft as Lucas leaned down, whispering something into her ear. Chloe's vision blurred. For a heartbeat, sound fell away. The world shrank to that single image. Her husband, his hand resting on another woman's thigh, his smile the same one he used to charm her years ago. Her breath caught, and the door creaked. Lucas's head snapped up, his eyes locked on the crack in the doorway. Who's there? Chloe froze. Isabella sat upright, pulling the sheet against her chest, eyes wide. Lucas strode across the room in 2 quick steps, yanking the door open. And there she was. Chloe, drenched from the rain, hair plastered to her face, eyes blazing with fury and heartbreak. For a long, terrible moment, no one spoke. Chloe, Lucas stammered, his voice unsteady. It's not what it looks like. She laughed, bitter and broken. That's the line? That's all you have? Isabella rose behind him, her face pale, but Chloe's focus never wavered from Lucas. I trusted you, Chloe whispered. Her voice cracked, but her eyes were sharp. And this is what you were doing, hiding in hotel rooms while I waited at home. Lucas stepped forward, hand outstretched. Listen, please, it's complicated. I can explain. Explain, she snapped. Her voice cut through the hallway like glass. Explain how you gaslit me. How you lied to my face while making me believe I was paranoid. Or maybe explain why no one knew before I did. Lucas froze. Isabella's eyes flickered nervously. I have proof, Chloe continued, her voice steady now, colder. Emails. Photos. Receipts. Even Adrian's little voice memos. Did you think I'd never find out? Did you think I'd stay blind forever? Lucas's face drained of color. Adrian, he began, but Chloe shook her head. Don't insult me with more lies. The silence stretched, heavy, suffocating. Then Chloe stepped back, her chest rising and falling. This is over, Lucas. Whatever excuses you think you have, save them. I don't need them. I don't need you. She turned and walked away, her heels striking the carpet with finality. Behind her, Isabella whispered something frantic, and Lucas called her name, but Chloe didn't stop. Not once. The elevator doors closed around her, cutting off the sound, the sight, the life she once thought was unshakable. In the mirrored walls of the elevator, her reflection stared back, soaked, shattered, but unbroken. And in her hand, clenched tight, the flash drive glinted faintly like a blade waiting to be used. Chapter 8. The Truth Explodes. The apartment felt smaller when Chloe returned, the walls closing in like a stage set collapsing after the performance. She had driven in silence, windshield wipers scraping against glass, Lucas's voice echoing in her head. It's not what it looks like. The lie was so flimsy it almost made her laugh. Almost. By the time Lucas walked in, his tie loosened, hair damp from the rain, Chloe was seated at the dining table with her laptop open. The flash drive gleamed beside her like an unspoken threat. She didn't rise. She didn't smile. She only looked at him. "Chloe," he began, soft, cautious, as if she were a wild animal that might bolt. "We need to talk." Her hands folded neatly on the table. "Then talk." Lucas hesitated. His jaw flexed, the charm he wore so easily faltering under the weight of silence. "I made a mistake. One mistake. It didn't mean anything. One mistake." Chloe's voice was low, steady. She clicked her mouse. On the screen appeared a photo of Isabella leaving the Marina Plaza, hair slightly mussed, blazer hastily buttoned. "That's not one mistake." She swiped again. Noah strolling from the same lobby, phone in hand. Swipe. An email thread with the subject line, Room 1206 confirmation. Swipe. The audio file of Dr. Adrian Cole advising deception. Lucas's face drained of color. "Where did you get this?" "I didn't need to dig," Chloe replied coldly. "You left the trail yourself. All I had to do was follow it." He took a step closer, palms raised. "Listen to me. Isabella, she's nothing. It was stress, pressure, Adrian told me." Chloe slammed the laptop shut. The sound cracked through the room like a gunshot. "Don't you dare blame Adrian. Don't you dare blame stress. This was you. You chose this." Lucas flinched, his polished facade unraveling. "I love you, Chloe. You have to believe that. I love you more than anything." "Love." The word burned on her tongue. Love doesn't hide in hotel rooms. Love doesn't make me feel insane for noticing the truth. Love doesn't tell me I'm paranoid while he's with someone else. He reached for her hand, but she pulled back. "Stop," she hissed. "Stop touching me. Stop lying." Lucas's expression hardened, desperation sharpening into anger. "So what? You're going to ruin me? Destroy everything we built because of a few pictures and emails? You think anyone will believe your side over mine?" Chloe rose, her chair scraping back. "I don't care who believes me. I believe me. That's enough." For a moment, neither moved. The rain outside pounded harder, rattling against the windows. Lucas's chest heaved, his fists clenched at his sides. Chloe's breath came steady, almost calm, though inside her heart hammered like a drum. "You're throwing this marriage away," he spat. "No, Lucas," she whispered. Her eyes met his, steady and cold. "You threw it away the moment you opened that hotel door." He faltered, as if struck. His lips parted, but no words came. For the first time, Lucas Bennett, the man who always had an answer, always a perfect smile, stood speechless. Chloe picked up the flash drive, slipping it into her coat pocket. "I won't live in your lie anymore." She moved past him, her shoulder brushing his. The scent of his cologne lingered, but it no longer carried warmth, only betrayal. At the door, she paused, her voice a final blade. "You said I was too loyal. You were right, but not anymore." Then she left, the door clicking shut behind her, the sound final and echoing. Lucas stood in the empty apartment, fists trembling, breath ragged. For the first time, he realized the performance was over. The truth wasn't just exposed, it had exploded, and nothing would ever return to the way it was. Chapter 9. The Outsider's Role. The night after Chloe walked out, she couldn't bring herself to go home. Instead, she drove aimlessly through the city, the rain-slick streets reflecting neon like fractured glass. At some point, her car found its way to the PO, where she sat in silence, listening to the waves slap against the pilings. Her phone buzzed repeatedly, Lucas calling, then texting, but she ignored everyone. At 11:32 p.m., a new message appeared, this one from Noah Grott. "I heard what happened. Are you okay? I'm nearby. Let me come sit with you." Chloe's first instinct was to throw the phone into the bay. Noah's name alone carried the aftertaste of unease. But she was tired, hollow, her heart still vibrating from the explosion of truth. Against her better judgment, she typed back one word: fine. 5 minutes later, Noah's car pulled up beside hers. He stepped out without an umbrella, rain dampening his hair. His expression rehearsed to look concerned but not pitying. He tapped gently on her window. "Chloe," he said as she lowered the glass, "you shouldn't be alone tonight." "I'm not alone," she replied flatly. "I have the ocean." Noah gave a small laugh, sliding his hands into his pockets. "The ocean doesn't bring coffee." He held up 2 cups from the late-night cafe down the street. Reluctantly, Chloe unlocked the door. He slipped inside, handing her a cup, the steam fogging the glass. For a moment, they sat in silence, rain drumming above them. "He doesn't deserve you," Noah said finally. His voice was low, intimate, the kind of tone meant to slip under armor. Chloe stared at the dark water ahead. "I don't need to hear that." "You do," Noah pressed. "You've been blind to who he really is. I've seen the way he treats you. The lies, the gaslighting, the arrogance. He'll never change." Her jaw tightened. "You knew, didn't you? You knew about Isabella." Noah hesitated, then sighed. "I suspected. I didn't want to hurt you. I thought if I stayed close, I could protect you." She turned sharply. "Protect me? By staying silent? By watching him betray me and saying nothing?" Noah's gaze softened, but underneath flickered something sharper. "You wouldn't have believed me. You were too loyal. But now you see. Now you know I was right all along." Chloe shook her head. "This isn't about you, Noah." "Isn't it?" he asked quietly. "Do you think it's a coincidence I've always been there? Every time he failed you, every time he let you down, I was the one picking up the pieces." The weight of his words sank in. She realized his comfort had never been selfless. It had always been angled, waiting for a moment like this. "Noah," she set the coffee aside, her voice steady but cold. "You're not here because you care about me. You're here because you want something from me." His jaw tightened, a flash of frustration breaking through his polished calm. "I want you to see who actually deserves you. Who has always deserved you." Chloe's chest burned, anger and grief colliding. "Don't you dare use his betrayal as your opportunity." For the first time, Noah didn't smile. His face hardened, his eyes narrowing in the dim light of the car. "You think Lucas is the only one who played you? Everyone around you knows more than you do. Adrian, Isabella, even me." The admission hit her like ice water. She gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white. "Then you're no better than him." Noah leaned closer, his voice a whisper. "I'm better because I'm honest about what I want." Chloe recoiled, the space between them suddenly suffocating. She pushed the door open, rain sweeping in, and stepped out into the downpour. Noah followed, but she turned sharply, her voice cutting through the storm. "Stay away from me, Noah. If you ever cared about me, even a little, you'll stay out of my life." For a moment, he stood frozen, rain dripping from his jaw, his fists clenched at his sides. Then, slowly, he forced a smile, though it didn't reach his eyes. "You'll come around," he said. "Because once the dust settles, you'll realize I'm the only one left standing beside you." Chloe's heart pounded as she walked away, her coat plastered to her skin, the pier stretching ahead into darkness. She didn't look back, but she felt Noah's gaze like a hook in her spine, pulling even as she resisted. She thought she had unearthed the full betrayal in that hotel room. But tonight she saw the deeper truth. This web was larger than Lucas and Isabel. Chapter 10. Betrayal upon betrayal. Chloe didn't sleep that night. She sat in her apartment with a flash drive clutched in her hand, replaying Noah's words like a broken record. "Everyone around you knows more than you do. Adrian, Isabella, even me." The betrayal was no longer just Lucas's affair. It was laid, tangled, an entire web she hadn't realized she was standing inside. She scrolled through the files again, the emails, the photos, the recordings, and one name threaded through them all: Dr. Adrian Cole. At dawn, she decided she needed answers directly from him. Adrian's office was as polished as the man himself. Books lined the shelves in precise rows, certificates framed on the wall, a faint scent of leather and cedar in the air. He looked up from his desk as she entered, his calm expression betraying no surprise. "Chloe," he greeted smoothly. "I was expecting you." Her pulse stuttered. "Expecting me?" "You've always been sharp," Adrian continued, folding his hands. "Lucas underestimated you. But I didn't." Chloe's stomach twisted. "You were helping him. You coach him on how to lie to me." Adrian tilted his head. "I guided him. Men like Lucas need structure, discipline." He was impulsive, weak. He needed someone to show him how to protect what he valued. Protect. Chloe's laugh was hollow. "By destroying me." Adrian leaned back in his chair, his gaze steady. "Lucas thought he was protecting himself. Noah thought he was pursuing you. Isabella thought she was seizing an opportunity. But me." He paused, his smile faint. "I was studying you." The words chilled her. "Studying me?" "You're fascinating, Chloe," Adrian said softly. "Your loyalty, your resilience. I wanted to see how far it could stretch before it broke. People like you either collapse or transform." Her breath caught. This wasn't about therapy or mentorship. It was control, manipulation, a game. "You used Lucas," she whispered. "I used all of them," Adrian admitted without hesitation. "Lucas, Noah, Isabella, they were pawns, necessary to build the right conditions. But you," his eyes gleamed. "You are the queen, the one piece that can change the entire board." Chloe stood abruptly, the chair scraping back. "You're insane." "Am I?" Adrian asked calmly. "Or are you simply angry that the world you thought was real was only a construct? You've seen the truth now. The question is, what will you do with it?" She fled the office, her chest heaving. Outside, the city noise rushed around her. Horns, footsteps, voices, but everything felt distant. Her phone buzzed again. A new message. It was from Noah. "Adrian says you came to see him. Be careful, Chloe. You don't know how deep this goes." Her hands shook as she read it. Adrian and Noah weren't just connected. They were working together, and they knew her every move. By the time she reached her apartment, her decision was made. She couldn't just survive this. She had to fight back. She spread everything across the table. Hotel receipts, email chains, photos, Adrian's audio file. The web was clear now. Lucas had been weak enough to cheat. Isabella had been selfish enough to join him. But Noah and Adrian, they were the architects. For the first time in days, Chloe felt a cold, focused clarity. She called Olivia. "Meet me tonight. Bring your camera. I need every shred of this documented. No more whispers. No more shadows." "Chloe," Olivia said carefully, "what are you planning?" Chloe's eyes burned as she stared at the flash drive, the proof of everything. "Not planning," she said. "Deciding." That evening, Lucas returned, his expression cautious, almost fearful. "Chloe," he said, voice trembling, "I know I hurt you. But Adrian told me." "Stop," Chloe interrupted sharply. "Adrian told you nothing. Adrian told you how to become a puppet. And you danced for him. For Noah. For Isabella." Lucas's mouth opened, but no words came. "You didn't just betray me," Chloe said, her voice cutting. "You betrayed yourself. You let them use you. And you were too blind to see it." His face crumpled, the mask of confidence shattering. "Chloe, please." But Chloe only shook her head. "I don't pity you anymore. I don't even hate you. I see you for what you are, a pawn." Lucas sank into the chair, his hands covering his face. For the first time, he looked small, broken. Chloe slipped the flash drive into her pocket, her resolve steel. This wasn't just about ending a marriage anymore. This was about exposing the entire design. Adrian thought she was the queen on his board. He was wrong. She wasn't playing his game anymore. She was about to flip the board entirely. Chapter 11. The Collapse. The storm outside had calmed, but Chloe's apartment felt like the eye of a hurricane, eerily quiet, yet everything inside spun with dangerous force. Documents were scattered across the dining table, photos clipped into neat piles, emails pulled up on her laptop. Olivia sat cross-legged on the couch, her camera resting in her lap, watching Chloe pace the room. You've got enough proof to bury him, Olivia said. Lucas, Isabella, even Noah. But Adrian, he's the one who won't go down easy. Chloe stopped pacing, her arms crossed tightly. Adrian doesn't care if they fall. He thinks he's untouchable. That's his weakness. He's underestimated me from the start. Olivia leaned forward. So what's the plan? Chloe looked at her best friend, her expression hardening. We end it. All of it. No more shadows. Later that night, Chloe sat in the darkened apartment waiting for Lucas. She hadn't answered his calls, but she knew he'd come. He was desperate now, a man scrambling to salvage a kingdom built on lies. At 10:15, the lock turned, and he stepped inside. Chloe. His voice wavered in the dimness. He flipped on the light and froze. The table was a crime scene laid bare. Photographs, receipts, the glowing laptop with Adrian's audio playing softly in the background. Lucas's face drained. What is this? It's your life, Chloe said evenly. Every lie, every betrayal, every word Adrian coached you to say. He shook his head, staggering closer. No, Chloe, listen, I didn't know it was this deep. I thought it was just an affair. I didn't realize Adrian. You didn't want to realize, she cut in sharply. Because realizing would mean admitting you were weak enough to let him control you. Lucas's hands trembled. He dropped into a chair, burying his face in them. I've ruined everything. Chloe studied him coldly. You were a pawn, Lucas. Nothing more. Noah played you. Isabella used you. Adrian controlled you. And you let them. Lucas lifted his head, tears pooling in his eyes. I love you, Chloe. Please don't walk away. Chloe felt the sting in her chest, but she didn't flinch. You don't get to say you love me. Not after this. For a long moment, silence suffocated the room. Then Chloe turned her laptop toward him, the audio of Adrian's voice filling the air again. The human mind prefers the comfort of a plausible lie. Lucas shuddered. He made me believe, if I just followed him, everything would stay intact. That I could keep you, keep my career, keep control. And now? Chloe asked quietly. Lucas's gaze broke. Now I have nothing. The collapse came quickly after that. Chloe left him there in the living room, his shoulders hunched, his breathing ragged. She walked into the bedroom, packed a single suitcase, and returned to find him still frozen in the chair, staring at the fragments of his downfall. Where are you going? His voice cracked. Somewhere you can't reach me, she replied. He surged to his feet, grabbing her arm. Don't leave me like this. Please. I'll fix it. I swear I'll fix it. Chloe yanked free, her eyes burning. You can't fix what you chose to destroy. For the first time, Lucas looked truly broken. His chest heaved, his lips parted like a man drowning. Chloe felt no satisfaction, only a cold finality. You'll have to live with what you did, she whispered. Not me. She walked out, the suitcase rolling behind her, Olivia waiting by the door with quiet resolve. Lucas didn't follow. He simply sank back into the chair, his sobs muffled by the weight of his own collapse. That night, Chloe and Olivia checked into a small boutique hotel across the city. Chloe sat by the window, watching the lights blur through the rain. She had exposed Lucas, but Adrian and Noah still hovered in the shadows, pulling strings, manipulating outcomes. Olivia touched her shoulder gently. Are you ready for what comes next? Chloe's reflection stared back at her in the glass, hollow eyes, but steady, burning with new fire. I'm past ready, she said. Tomorrow, we take the fight to them. Chapter 12, The Final Blow. The morning broke gray and heavy, the kind of sky that promised storms. Chloe sat on the edge of the hotel bed, the flash drive warm in her palm, her heartbeat steady. For weeks, she had been reacting, drowning in half-truths and betrayals. But today, she would stop reacting. Today, she would strike. Olivia paced behind her, adjusting the strap on her camera. Are you sure about this? Once you start, there's no undoing it. Chloe looked up, her eyes hard. They wanted me to be silent. They wanted me to doubt myself. I won't give them that. Not anymore. By noon, She was standing in the glass-walled lobby of Adrian Cole's private clinic. The receptionist glanced up, startled by the determination in Chloe's stride. "I need to see Dr. Cole," Chloe said. Her voice left no room for argument. Moments later, Adrian appeared, immaculately dressed, his calm smile practiced. "Chloe, I wondered when you'd come back." He led her into his office, a place that smelled of leather and control. Noah was already there, leaning casually against the bookshelf, arms crossed, as if he had been waiting. Chloe's stomach tightened, but she didn't flinch. "So it's both of you. No more pretending." Noah smirked. "Pretending? I told you the truth. You just weren't ready to hear it." Adrian gestured to the chair opposite his desk. "Sit. Let's speak like civilized people." But Chloe remained standing. She placed the flash drive on his desk, its metal glinting under the soft light. "Everything you've done is on here. Emails, recordings, hotel receipts. Every thread of your little game." Adrian's expression didn't falter, but his eyes sharpened. "Evidence without context is nothing, Chloe. People will believe the version of the story I give them. They always do." "Not this time," Chloe said firmly. "I've already copied the files to multiple places. Olivia has a copy. Sophia has a copy. If anything happens to me, they go straight to the press." For the first time, Adrian's polished mask cracked. A muscle twitched in his jaw. Noah stepped forward, his smile thinning. "Careful, Chloe. You don't want to make enemies you can't handle." Chloe's laugh was bitter. "I already had enemies. I just didn't know they were hiding in my living room, calling themselves friends." Adrian leaned back, steepling his fingers. "And what do you want? Revenge? To see Lucas ruined, Isabella shamed, Noah exposed, me disgraced? That won't heal you." Chloe's gaze cut into him. "I don't want revenge. I want the truth. I want every mask you wear ripped away, so the world sees what you are, a manipulator who toys with lives for sport." Noah's voice rose, sharp now. "You think people will believe you over us? You're just the scorned wife. We'll bury you in lawsuits and whispers." Chloe reached into her coat pocket and pulled out her phone. With one tap, the screen lit up, a live stream. Olivia's camera was already rolling from the corner of the office, broadcasting everything. "You already buried yourselves," Chloe said quietly. "The world is watching." Adrian's face turned to stone. Noah swore under his breath, lunging toward the camera, but Olivia stepped in, blocking him with surprising force. "You played me for a pawn," Chloe continued, her voice steady, carrying the weight of every wound she'd endured. "But I'm not a pawn. I'm the one who ends the game." The fallout was immediate. Within hours, the recordings spread online. Adrian's manipulative audio, Noah's veiled threats, Lucas's emails confirming hotel trysts. Isabella's name was dragged into headlines, her career crumbling overnight. Adrian tried to spin the narrative, but the stream had already burned through social media like wildfire. His calm voice, once trusted, now sounded chilling, predatory. His empire of influence cracked. Noah, caught on camera sneering about waiting for his chance, was cast out of the very circles he craved. And Lucas faced the mirror of public shame, his affair no longer a private wound but a stain for everyone to see. Days later, Chloe stood at the PU again, the same place Noah had tried to worm his way into her grief. The sea stretched endless before her, waves rolling like whispers of closure. Olivia joined her, slipping a coffee into her hand. "You did it," Olivia said softly. Chloe breathed in the salt air, the weight on her chest finally lifting. "No," she replied. "They did it to themselves. I just stopped letting them hide." She turned her face toward the horizon. For the first time in weeks, her reflection in the water didn't look broken. It looked free. Behind her, the ruins of betrayal still smoldered. But ahead, there was something new. Not just survival, strength, and the promise of a life she would build on her own terms.